I've been working with houses and landscape energy for many years now. And what I've learned is that true healing of homes, of landscapes, and the people who live in them requires us to dive far beneath the surface. I'm not talking about, just sticking some copper rods in the ground and, putting some crystals about. I'm talking about really deep work on a soul level. So when I first began dowsing sick houses, I used to turn up gripping my dowsing rods, in grim determination or swinging a pendulum. And I was absolutely ready and determined, using pendulum or some dowsing tools, absolutely determined to clear energies that the people in the house, and indeed I, blamed for ill health. So people would move somewhere and say, well, I've become ill since I moved here. I was fine before, now I'm here and now I'm ill. And I'd be convinced, like them at that stage of my own growth, I'd be convinced that the house was the problem. It seemed so obvious. Over here, they were well, they moved here and now they're ill. But, I learned over time that I was very much mistaken. Um, the house that has normally made you ill has really acted as a catalyst. There are sort of it's the thing that has straw that's broken the camel's back, if you like. So it's really a trigger factor. It's the thing that suddenly has caused you to become ill. But before that, there were lots of contributory factors, and underneath that, there's a really a deep soul lesson that we have to learn. So healing a home, and the people within it, as I say, demands that we go deeper, much deeper. Every home has a spirit, and that spirit, that home really has sort of a heart held by the spirit. It knows that you're coming. It knows what you live there for, and this that we come to a place when things finally go wrong for us, when we've got to that place where things finally have gone wrong for us. It normally means we have ignored them several times before. So I often liken things to like, if our life's path is like a track that we are moving down, and it's got sides on, so we can't move off it. That's our life. We can only move forward. We have these lessons and they crop up, and there'll be little hurdles to start with that we can step over. But if we try and ignore them and just sneak around the edge or try and swap lanes, let's say we can get out of a lane and swap and we ignore them, then the next time it shows up, that hurdle will be bigger. But again, we'll try and sidestep it or go under it, or we'll, shimmy around the edge of it until eventually the sides of our lane that we're in really come up, and then we're faced with a wall, and that's when we sort of crash and burn because we've tried to sidestep and ignore all these things before, and we haven't actually dealt with it really. So how does that show up in our homes? Well, as I say, the struggles people often face when they move into a home where they've suddenly become ill or their relationship has suddenly gone downhill, they often start long before they've signed a lease, signed a contract, or unpacked a box. If you move to escape a job that drains your spark, that is not part of your soul's calling, um, only to stay in that career, you've simply moved house, then the career still feels wrong. What you're doing is you're shifting one soul sucking existence to just live it in another place. If you've moved from one unfulfilling relationship and moved in with somebody else into an equally unfulfilling relationship, you've sidestepped the inner work needed to break free. You're going through the same lessons again, just in a different geographical location. The house, no house is a villain. They don't have intrinsically bad energy. They are a mirror that reflects the lessons and challenges of our soul's path. Even if we've got underground stressed water underneath that is emitting ions through the rock strata that are negatively impacting us, usually that's because the feminine and receptive energy in ourselves, whether masculine or feminine, whether we're men or women, there is something wrong with that. There is an emotional issue that we need to deal with. And if the underground water perhaps has triggered health issues, we'll often find that that health issue was pre-existing, but people were ignoring it, hoping it was going to go away, or they had bad habits that didn't support their health. So I want you to think of your home as a stage set for the grand play of your life. Your childhood haven, your first flat, the home where you raised your children, or maybe even faced an empty nest. That was my Spoonerisms coming in there. Each marks a chapter, a distinct act in the story of your life, the whole play. Each is a distinct act. It's a set. It's a backdrop, and these spaces, they come with all sorts of props, the house itself, the energy blueprint, underground streams, energy layers, the spirit of place itself. They're not random. These are all clues, really, that are perfectly designed to help you play the role and really to learn the lessons you're here to master. So you can become who you were meant to be. So if you ignore these clues, then life feels like it's in a loop. You're stuck in Groundhog Day of the soul. You're going through the same unfulfilling relationships, going through the same issues around boundaries or self-worth, or you're stuck in the same career where you're undervalued, or you're just filled with, working in a job full of people you can't stand, doing a job that's monotonous and seems to serve no purpose, when what you actually want to be is an artist or a musician, whatever it is. You can move house, you can swap one house for another. But the script stays the same, the lessons stay the same if you're not learning them. And what happens is they come back worse and worse and more aggressive each time until we crash and burn and are forced to face them. New walls of your home won't mend the weak boundaries in your relationship. A fresh address is not going to bring joy to a career that saps the very life out of your soul. Clearing a ley line or erasing a place's old wounds can, shifts a home energy. But what they're really calling you to do is to seek that transformation that happens when you face the energy that reflects you. So clearing an A line is, let's say the energy lay is not very good. That's sort of action taking out there energy. What are you doing to take action out there in the world to create the life that you want to? If you're, emotionally stagnant in a relationship, you can't say what you need, you're not honoring your own needs, then we can heal the stagnant water under the ground. But what transformation do you need to address those emotional wounds? Your home is an oracle and it holds up a mirror to who you are. Your home is a reflection of your inner world out there in the world. So when we create that home, it's not just that we are absorbing what's reflect back to us, we are projecting who we are out there into that space. So if your home is, cluttered and a mess, and, what does that say about you? If you struggle to pay all, life is difficult at the moment, the Western world economy and whatnot. But when we can, how well we look after our home is a reflection of how well we look after ourselves. Busy homes, it doesn't mean you can't have, when you've got a family, it doesn't mean everywhere has to look like some Instagram photo. For God's sake, mine doesn't, but generally clean and tidy. We know where things are. We clear up, we sweep up. We're not hoarding stuff. We're not hanging on to stuff that we've had for umpteen years simply because we can't let it go. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean a home that can't look like it can be lived in. All homes have stuff, most homes has a pile of letters that you need to open, that's been there since this morning. It doesn't mean an unlived in home. It doesn't have to look like an Instagram picture, but it should be somewhere that is orderly and we know where things are, and everybody has a space, everything has a place, and everything knows where it lives. And how we use color, how we arrange our home, how we express ourselves in our home. Have we got things in there that are meaningful to us? That home is an outward expression of our inner world, but also the very energy of that place is really calling us to deal with the things that we need to go to. So we might have, let's say you have a wanderlust, you want to travel, but have you got pictures around you of the places that you want to travel? Do you sit down and have you made a plan in that home of how you're going to do it? Have you spoken to the spirit of place about this is your desire to travel from your home? It's a base, but you want to come back to it. So your home is that oracle, as I say, that holds up a mirror to who you are and what you're here to learn and how you can thrive. So it's going to help you become, the person that you need to be. As I said, if you've got a sluggish energy line where the energy isn't moving, it might be nudging you to take bolder action. Where in your life are you holding yourself back? And stagnant water can put can point to block sort of receptive energy. How are you struggling to let go or receive? Are you afraid to let go of things because you think no more of that is going to come? Don't hold on to things that don't no longer serve you. And how honest are you being about your own relationships? Echo of past trauma, maybe in your home left by previous occupants, but it might mirror unresolved wounds in your own story, things that you haven't dealt with that you're burying, that if you move, you're simply going to take to another home. These are the questions that your home actually asks you. These are the challenges that it sets you and the lessons that it offers. So these are deep, these require some thought. These aren't just journal it one afternoon and then that's it, let it go. There's very much a thing, I think, in spirituality often that it's just easy, just let things go, and just decide what you want to do and take action. But I think we're running away to a large degree of the need to think. We're constantly told, don't think too much, just take action, follow your intuition, follow your gut. But, our gut and our feelings can lead us very much astray because sometimes we're pulled to the very thing that we should be then consciously examining because we're drawn to that energy. Let's say you're drawn to someone, you've got a real strong attraction for them. So you think, oh, this must be it. But actually, you could be strongly drawn to something that's been laid down in childhood that is really unhelpful. So then you can find yourself in harmful relationships that are perhaps replicating ones that you witnessed. Maybe your own parents had an unhelpful relationship. So you're drawn to things you already know. And sometimes those things aren't helpful. So we really need to think about what those lessons are that our home is pointing us towards, so that the action we're taking, we know is the right action. Yes, we need to feel that instinct, that thing in our gut, but that should draw us into conscious thought and inquiry. And we should think about things, I think, a little bit more than we do. And this is very much now how I've come to work, that there is nothing wrong with thinking about things for a few weeks. Think about things for weeks, not just a day, an hour. Mull things over, journal it a lot till you're comfortable with the conclusion, and you know that you've been really brutally honest about it, what your motives are, what you're trying to achieve. Running to a new house, if you're, like I said, if you're trying to escape poor relationships and a job that sucked the life out of you, go, that's it, I'm going to move. And then you get drawn into the same relationship. So you end up in the same job. You've achieved nothing but moved geographical location. So a new house won't rewrite the script. The next mirror that you move to will only reflect sharper truths. There'll be more cutting edges to what you need to learn that will urge you to face your hurdles in relationships, in health, and in purpose. I've lived this pattern myself through cycles, through a decade of an abusive marriage, and the same length of time to get divorced because of how abusive men manipulate the court system, that taught me to listen. And what I learned in that abusive marriage was that I was very much mirroring, for instance, the patterns of adult relationships I had seen in childhood in my family and in my extended family. And in fact, they were in very similar geographical locations. This happened in that location, I moved here. That happened in that location in childhood, and I moved there. So I was very much, those lessons were tied around. But I see that so often in clients. They might not be as closely geographical proximity as I would, but I see that again and again in the clients that I've worked with in the houses over the years. Homes are your teachers. They whisper about boundaries, about power, about freedom, about autonomy, about sovereignty. Your home is your castle. Are you the king or queen of your own kingdom? And I'd say I've seen it in thousands of clients. Many who come to me after other healers had tried, quick fixes like sticking copper rods in the ground or crystals in the corners. Well-meaning, but not enough for lasting change. And this is why I'm actually relaunching my sanctuary unlock the hidden energy in your home as a beta course at the moment. So I'm inviting a few bold few, and you may be one of them. So who are done stumbling through life and hoping for better days. And you know that the landscape, you know, and your little patch of it, your home, holds a deep connection on your soul journey. And you feel the call really to claim your agency. You want to live your values, whatever those values may be. They may be authenticity, courage, connection, wealth, peace, whatever it may be. But you want to live your values in a world that begs us now to know our worth. We're at a really sort of pivotal moment of human consciousness. And, okay, that pivotal moment in terms of society may go on for many years. But for you, that pivotal moment is now. You get to change things now if you want to. And what Sanctuary will do is we'll use the home energy. So it's going to be really a path to inner and outer discovery. It's going to be a chance to partner with your home spirit and rewrite your story. So, I work one-to-one with people, working with the energy of their home. And the other program I teach is Genesis, which is really rediscovering megalithic technology. So we work with home energy and landscape energy to build, it's effectively mini lists, so smaller scale stone circles, chamber cairns, standing stones, etc. If that's for people who've got a big enough outside space, because we work with home energy to heal the home, and then we work with the landscape energy to create a thriving environment where they can support themselves. But I know that not everybody has that space, and also there's a real deep relationship with our home that's really worth exploring. So this is a chance. It's Sanctuary, the new version of Sanctuary, the better version I'm going to be trialing, is a chance to explore that path of inner and outer discovery. It's going to be a chance to partner with the spirit of your home and really to rewrite your story, who you are, what you came here to do, to make sure that you can achieve it. So this isn't about sticking crystals in corners. It's not about, sticking copper rods in the ground. There's very little or no dowsing involved at all. This is about finding that inner knowing within you. It's about partnering with the spirit of place on the level of your home or wider to align your home and life with your purpose, because your home is a map of your purpose. So the energy in your home is an energy map of your purpose. It's about seeing your home as that stage set with its props that are designed to help you embody your values and play your role with boldness and grace. Who are you and what did you come to do? So I'm currently pouring my heart really into up-leveling Sanctuary at the moment, because the original Sanctuary really grew into Genesis. But there was so many people who hadn't got outside space, maybe lived in flats, maisonettes, or just, didn't have enough space to do the minilithic work, but still wanted to work with the soul of their home. And this is a great way of using your home's energy. So I'm going to be crafting this program based on the students who come through the better program. So the trial program, but it's a better version. A beta version, sorry. I've written it, it's all there. I think I know what you want, but I want people to go through it so that I can adjust it to what you actually need, tweak it, refine it. So it's really what you need ready for the first full, proper cohort. So if you're interested in coming into the beta version, it'll be, you won't get it at that price again. I haven't priced it yet, I've got to say that. So I'm just really talking about it now. So if you're interested and you want to find out more details, then just, drop me a message below, DM me, or you can email me, faye@fayesemple.com. And I'd love to hear your questions. So if you could ask me 2 questions about how your home can help you with your soul lessons, to understand what your energy fields are and what the energy in your home is, what its challenges are presenting you, and what gifts it's offering you. If you could ask me 2 questions about those things, what would they be? It's a quick step to do that, so I know what people want, but it could also be the start of rewriting your story. So let me know. I'd love to hear from you. So yeah, drop on the DMs and I can answer any questions that you have.